This is Matt Russell, and welcome to the Daily FX Forum.
So here are the 5 pairs that I will be discussing this evening: the Euro Pound, the Aussie Kiwi, the Pound Swiss, the Euro Swiss, as well as the Euro Aussie. So let's go ahead and pull up the charts. The first chart is the Euro Pound. The short trade from 88.23 or 88.10 was stopped out during yesterday's session. We have been in that trade for a very long time, but again, anything can and will happen in trading. Again, we had prices come up to the intersection of the longer term resistance line as well as the horizontal resistance line also, and it's still a great trade. I would still enter it with my eyes closed if it presented itself again, but again, anything can and will happen, and that's what happened here. And I'm just going to stay on the sidelines and look for that 88.40 area to possibly act as support, but I'd like to see at least a little bit of confirmation first. The next chart is the Aussie Kiwi, and the short trade from either 128.75 or during yesterday's report 128.85 continues. Prices right now about 128.23. I would keep those stops at 130.25 and just stay in the trade. The next chart is the Pound Swiss, and again, I'm just going to stay on the sidelines with both the Pound Swiss and the Euro Pound. Same story here with the Euro Swiss. I'm just going to stay on the sidelines. I really don't see anything too favorable setting up. For more aggressive traders, there is a doji here that did draft on the daily. The low of that doji is 146.24. And prices right now about 146.37. I might go ahead and take a shot here long 146.37 with a stop at 146.20. Again, that would be long 146.37 with a stop at 146.20. The next and last chart is the Euro Aussie. And actually, during yesterday's report, I mentioned how I did not like the way it looked, but I would continue to stay in the trade. And prices actually during yesterday's session had a bullish engulfing candle. I do like the way it looks now. Hopefully, you're still all in this trade with entries at either 151 or 151.07. I would just go ahead and keep those stops at 150.40 and stay in the trade. Again, my name is Matt Russell. Thanks for listening, and please stay tuned for a preview of the Daily FX Forums. I want to take this opportunity to formally welcome you all to the Daily FX Forums. I want to go through the process of how I personally access the forums and how maybe you at home, if you want to access the forums in the future, might do so. The first thing you would do is go to www.dailyfx.com, and that will bring up, obviously, dailyfx.com, and usually there on the upper right hand corner I'll go ahead and click on where it says forum, and that will bring up the first page of the forums. And this view, I personally don't use this view, but this view actually shows you the most recent posts on all the threads within the different sections and a little detail about those posts, so you can read through and see if there's something catches your interest. But personally, I go ahead and just click on forums and view them in the more traditional sense. Now, these are different threads within the forum. There's a section on education, such as Daily FX course instructor tips, which would be good for newer traders. And then for more advanced traders, and I just want to go ahead, personally, the way I use the forums is I would go through the individual threads, just looking for trade ideas, maybe looking at charts, looking at certain lines that maybe I didn't put up on my chart, but another trader might have put up on their chart. I tend to, shy away from using direct trade recommendations from other forum members, but it helps me to sort of even out my analysis, make sure that I'm seeing things, with the right mind in terms of, I might be missing stuff that other traders can see, and that's my personal way of using the forum. Every trader is going to be a little bit different in how they use it. So if you want to ask questions, if you want to become an active participant of the members, you would have to go ahead and register. So that's what I'm going to go through now, is the registration process. So assuming you're brand new to the forums, or maybe you've been here a few times and you're not really sure how it works, so I just want to walk through again the registration process. This would be the front page where you would access, or the previous page. You'd have the same little box here on the left hand side. My username and password are already filled out here, but assuming you're a new member, you would click on where it says register, and that will bring up the registration page. If you give me one moment here while my browser loads. And actually first we're going to have some terms of service and Daily FX forum rules. I do suggest reading through the forum rules. Obviously, profanity and spam and things like that are not allowed, but it also gives you insight on how to use the forum and how different traders can use it, in terms of their individual needs. So you would go down to the bottom there. You'd click on where it says I have read all the rules, and then you would go ahead to the register, the formal registration page, and that will bring up here And you can go ahead and select the username, and how about we'll use 4x, and that name is already in use, so maybe add a few more x's there. Again, it really, your individual username is up to you, and you go ahead and fill in your password, your email address. Now, the most difficult aspect of registration for the Daily FX forums will be figuring out these letters in the box here. Now, I'm a semi-intelligent person, but I have a very difficult time figuring out which letters and numbers to use. Now, there is a reason for this madness. It helps with security, but I would suggest just going ahead and keep on clicking that refresh image until something comes through that you can actually identify and see. Then you can go ahead and enter your birthday, but you can decide whether or not to display that to other forum members. And then also, if you were referred by somebody, you can enter that information there. The time zone, that should default to your computer, but you should double check and make sure. And then you can opt in, and I would suggest opting in for these emails in terms if the administrators want to go ahead and send you some notices about the forum, and then you would complete registration. Now what happens is they would send you an email to the email address that you put up here, and that email will include a link, and all you would have to do is go ahead and click on that link, and that link will bring you inside the forum, and you would now be a member of the Daily FX forums. Again, this is Matt Russell. Thanks for listening.